Okay, good evening again, and welcome on this cold winter night. You braved the cold and the dark. And of course, those on Zoom, welcome also. Topic today is dealing with toxic relationships. Interesting topic. Personally, actually, I feel these two words are, what is it? They don't belong together. If it is toxic, it cannot be a relationship. And if it is relationship, it cannot be toxic. But it has become such a popular expression these days. I'm in a toxic relationship. Actually, it just means something is terribly wrong, no? If I feel like that. But in today's exploration, we will just explore it from a spiritual perspective. What is it that we are doing that we find ourselves in a situation that we describe as toxic? And what made us get to a point like that? And maybe even more important, how can we shift that around? But maybe we can start with, what is the purpose of relationships? It is a good thing maybe to ask ourselves first. What is the purpose of a relationship? And this is not a rhetorical question. You can answer, and those on Zoom can also answer if they want to share. What is the purpose of Why do we get into relationships? Or do we just get into relationships because that is what we're supposed to? That is what everybody does. That is what we were told. That is how we were brought up with the idea that that is what has to happen. Or is there some other deeper insight? Connection. Okay, so we need to feel connected. We want to feel connected. In toxic relationships, do they feel connected? Toxically. They feel toxically connected. So one thing is we want to feel connected.
To give mutual support, to give and receive support, it's like exchange of energy.
Exchange of energy? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You want to have an exchange of some form of exchange.
Energy, exchange energy.
Yeah, energy. Okay. Energy.
Yeah.
Exchange of energy. We have some karmic accounts we have to deal with. That is where we are coming together. Good or bad karma. Okay. Anyone else? Varsha, what is your thought? What is the purpose of relationships?
Yes, Sister House. What I'm thinking is that it is in the nature of soul to connect with him soul. But in body, when we are identifying, the connection takes a different format. And the connection itself is purity, but then it gets all entangled with karmic relationship and the temperament.
Sorry, there is lot of noise.
I don't know when I lost it. But what I'm saying that it is in the nature of soul to connect with the Father, Supreme Being, the Paramatma. But then when we get this body and identification with the body, that purity of that connection, relationship gets really messed up.
Yeah. So in essence, what you're saying is that it is part of our nature or our natural state to be connected to God, the Supreme. But when we get disconnected there, then we look for that at a human level.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Someone else was saying for an experience. Someone else was saying for support, I think. I can't read, so you will have to open your mic and say. We have relationships for support, for companionship, to travel. Okay. It just is. Okay.
You give the purpose to it in a way. Like,
You give the purpose to the relationship, okay?
and then there's some things that are.
So the relationship, not the relationships, the purpose of relationships is what you give it as a purpose. And the relationships that you do choose, if I'm getting it right, one is to experience love outside of yourself, and the other is as a mirror for you to grow and to learn. Okay?
Sister, I have one more point. I think in the body there is this fundamental sense of lack. I'm not good enough. This is not enough. And then soul is searching for more. Somewhere I will find that perfection. But it is again, as I say, it is all mixed up.
When we're coming from a space of what?
Lack.
Lacking, incompleteness,
Yeah.
not feeling whole, then you're searching for that, and you're searching for that in others. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Seek it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Seek it outside.
Seek it outside, seek it in others. Any other thoughts? I mean, this is just for us to reflect on, because agreed, there are relationships that we cannot choose, but there are relationships that we can choose. But even if we don't choose, still there are ways I can respond and interact in relationships. And the way we respond, the way we deal with relationships has to do with what kind of aim or purpose I have given it in my own head. What is the reason for this interaction? And even, of course, family you don't choose, but still you choose how you relate to them. And you choose how you interact with them. And you choose what the purpose is of staying in touch or not staying in touch. So that is something that need to be clear for ourselves. Now, I think many of us are aware of this phenomena that relationships are not what we think or what we hope it would be. And if we don't have that experience ourselves, you have probably met someone or know someone who has that experience. And I regularly hear this thing, that they feel drained because of some interaction with someone, or that they feel frustrated, or that they just feel plain unhappy with certain dynamics, or that they feel abused or manipulated or misused. misused, they say that, yeah, used or treated unfairly. Now, how to deal with situations like that, and how to position myself, and what can I do to prevent feeling like that? Because if I feel drained, it also means that I have allowed the drainage to happen, no? Or that there is something within me that makes me vulnerable for that to happen. And I cannot change others, and I cannot change their behavior, and I cannot change how they deal with things, but I can choose to not be vulnerable. I can choose to not be susceptible for certain things. And how do I make myself, how do I protect myself? What is it that goes off track? Any idea? No? Huh? Your emotions? Mm-hmm. I'll give an example that some of you may have heard before, because I feel this example is very illustrative. So say here is, so Laura finished school, and she comes to Manhattan to come to study arts in one of the universities here. And she's very happy and very excited. New life, new place, new people, start of a different career, or not career, but building on a career. She's very artistic, very creative, and very expressive. And this is Greg. And Greg also comes from, Ohio. And he comes to New York City, and he comes to study engineering mixed with IT. And he's also excited, new life, new place, new people, new move in his life, and studying. And so Laura, one day, she paints her hair red. Does it affect Greg? Kind of amused at the most. And another day she comes and she paints her hair green. Does it affect Greg? At the most, if he notices, he is amused by it. Peculiar, rare. Another day she shaves half of her hair and polka dots, purple polka dots with yellow stripes. Interesting. But it doesn't affect him. He's embodiment of peace and coolness. So after a year, they get to know each other. After 2 years, they start dating, and after another year, they get married, and then they graduate. And Greg is a A student, so he gets a good opportunity, new job. And the firm invites them all to come with their partners to some special whatever happening. And Laura thinks, oh, I will surprise him. They are supposed to be dressed in suit, and this official meeting, and she thinks she will surprise him. So she shaves her head in circles. And some plucks of hair, and few plucks are yellow, other are blue, other are... Will he still be the embodiment of peace? Most probably not. And I like to exaggerate, but you get the point. What happened? Very good. He's in a relationship now and he expects certain things from her. Before, he had no expectations. He just interesting, cute, curious, amused. Now he has a certain expectation of how she should be, how she should look, how she should behave. And that expectation makes him vulnerable. And she is now in charge to fulfill that expectation or not. And if she fulfills that expectation, he is happy. If she doesn't, he is not so happy. Understand this dynamic? Now, she did not choose to be in charge of his happiness. And he also did not choose to be subservient to her behavior. But we have created a culture where we just grow into these expectations. And this is why this question in the beginning, what is the purpose of relationships? Because we think this is normal and natural. We grow into relationships and we start expecting certain things. Not even consciously often, subconsciously. We were brought up in a certain way, we were told things should be like this. Now we don't only have expectations of the hairstyle, we have many other expectations also. And all those expectations are potential, points of drainage, potential points of hurt, potential points of vulnerability. And at least we should be aware of this. Because we don't get into relationships to feel hurt. But many times, if you hear the divorce rate, for example, it is horrifying. And for that reason, people just don't get married. But that doesn't resolve the problem. We're still in relationships. Now, can we be in relationships managing our expectations better? Or lower them? Or maybe even not have them or have very little? That itself would be a way to protect myself and not be drained and not be vulnerable. Can you give a mic, Jose? Then I don't need to repeat in the mic for the Zoom.
Detached like that, isn't it? He's not giving himself like 100% to other person.
Is it on? Yeah.
So I'm saying,
if he is detached like that, then he's not giving himself 100%.
And she's gonna be, he's on his own, and she's gonna be like sad, like things don't
No,
work
but
like that.
not having expectation doesn't mean he's on his own.
Yeah.
What does an expectation do?
It brings misery if the other person cannot fulfill it.
Yeah, but my expectation means I want you to do something.
But isn't it
In a
natural to
certain way.
expect from your partner to be a certain way, and have like a mutual respect for each other?
But that is a different thing if you have come to certain
Common ground.
Yeah. If you have spoken about it, if you have clarified, okay, we are in this relationship, but these are the rules, so as to say. There is a partnership and there is a shared life and a shared life, life's aim, for example. And this is how we will relate with each other if we are living in an intimate way together. And then one can say yes or one can say no. These are as if, but if I have not clarified that and I'm just keeping all these expectations and desires, I am very vulnerable. But there is another thing. If I am internally full, if I am internally peaceful and happy, happy to be alone, happy to be with others, then I am less prone to expecting.
It's so hard to achieve that state, to be honest. We are not God.
It may be hard. Well, I'm not sure if it is hard. We have not paid attention. We have not paid attention to ourselves. And this is where the journey of meditation helps to discover and restore your relationship with yourself, you could say. Your awareness of who you are, you're enjoying your own company, enjoying your own thoughts. One way to define healthy relationship, a healthy relationship is if you're happy to be with them and you're happy also when they are not there. It means you're happy to be with yourself also, and you enjoy your own company. Because if we are expecting others to make us happy, that is not just the expectation, that is like a trap. Nobody was born to make us happy. And we need to come to this state of emotional independence, this deeper sense of self-worth, this inner fullness, to be able to deal with not just a relationship, but with relationships that are toxic. Because that is not only I have an expectation and you are there to fulfill it or not. In a toxic relationship, none of your expectations will be fulfilled. And not only that, there will be reinforcement of weaknesses that might be there. So the way to deal with complicated relationships is to become full yourself, not needing the compliments, or not needing the acknowledgement, or not needing the love, or not needing it. Because only in that space you can put your boundaries. Because if I am needy, you will take anything and hope, oh, tomorrow it will be better, tomorrow it will be better. Does it make sense? So whatever kind of relationship it is anyway always better to detach. May not be the word that is understood by everyone properly. Detach just means emotionally independent. Detach doesn't mean, oh, I'm not with you. I'm living on my own, isolated in some cave somewhere up in the mountains. But detached means emotionally independent, not needy, but in a position of fullness, and then I can give, then I can share. And I can also say no. Not now, not this, not with me. This whole thing of bullies is a big issue in school. No? Many children, not many children, it is an issue that children are being bullied or feel that they are not able to stand up. The only way to break that, truly, structurally, apart from taking them physically apart, is to strengthen the sense of self and the sense of self-respect and the sense of purpose of the individual. Because one thing is, why does one allow themselves to be bullied? And the other thing is, why is a bully bullying? Both are insecure, but expressing it differently. Both are internally needy and empty, just expressing it differently. And we haven't learned to be with ourselves. And that is why we feel we need others to be with. And we are social beings. It's not that we want to be alone. But you don't want to be alone begging. You don't want to be with others begging. You want to be with others giving. And who wants to be with a beggar? And what will happen if two beggars are together? Toxic. And beggar may be a strong word, but we may be consciously or subconsciously begging for acknowledgement, begging for love, begging for attention, begging for respect. And the thing often in these so-called toxic interaction is, more you beg, more you don't get. And then more you beg, more you don't get, more you beg, more you don't get. Yeah, it becomes, and it can end up in very ugly, very unpleasant situations. This is why there is violence and domestic even, between people. Verbal violence, but even, physical violence. And nobody chooses for that. Oh, well, I think so. Unless you something really deeply, disturbingly wrong. Nobody chooses like that. And many relationships don't start out like that. Many divorces, they start with, the marriage start with people who love each other. They love each other to death. Big marriage, big wedding, all kinds of things. But after a couple of years, yeah, it begins with a lot of expectations, and then over time, one by one, one by one, one by one, it gets crushed. And I understand I'm generalizing, I don't mean to generalize, but for each one of us to learn. So at a deeper level, the real solution is you become strong yourself. You empower yourself. Know yourself. Begin to know your own strengths and your own beauty. And enjoy your own company. Because that is the only way that at some stage you will be able to put boundaries. Or say, not this anymore. Or we should go for that. And maybe the other will be happy for that even also. Anyone want to say anything? Else anything?
Why, if you don't have any, like if you feel fullness in yourself.
Please actually give mic, no? Mm.
If you feel fullness in yourself, then, and you don't have any need or desire for, let's say, a relationship with anyone else, is that where you're supposed to be?
No. The relationships are part of the game of life, no? And we are not, how to say, we are social beings. Relationships are not, the relationship itself is not the problem. It is how we approach each other. You know, if there is expectation, if there is a need, then you're vulnerable. But if you're full, then you have to give. Then you have enough to give. And maybe originally relationships were meant to give, to share, to exchange, as Amrit was saying, energy on whatever level, to empower, to enjoy, to share, to care, to grow. Not to sit and wait, please give me, please tell me, please love me. You give love. You give care, you show interest, you acknowledge, because you're full. It's a very different way to be in relationships. One time there was this he was the owner and the director of a pharmaceutical company. This is in the Caribbean. And he did the meditation course at the center. And at some stage this topic came up from expectations, why we do things. And he was saying, but Rona, what will motivate us to do anything if we don't have expectations? If we don't have desires, then why will we be motivated to do anything? And this is interesting because this is the mindset in which we are. I need to have some inner emptiness to be motivated to do something, to be what is it, active. I will not work anymore, he says, if I don't have desires, if I don't have expectation, I will stop working. And in my line of work, he said, it can't be like that because I have to be out there all the time to defeat my competitors, and so this is a world of sharks, and otherwise I will be eaten. And this is how our mindset has become. You know, either I take or I fight. Either I receive and I get and I need, or I fight. Another way to look at it, I can still work. We can still have this company. But now the aim is to serve. The aim is to do my best to bring out the best products to serve society. The motivation is love for humanity, love for your people, love for the country, love for life. You use your skill, you use your intelligence, you use your best, not to defeat or to eat up all the other sharks, but just to give the best to society. You see the difference? You still are motivated and you still like the game of life and you use your skill, you research, you do whatever you need to do. But not to defeat one another, but to just bring the best for everyone. Benevolence is motivating you. When you come from that place of inner fullness, then your interaction is of giving.
How do you develop the inner fullness or the
How to develop.
not the insecurity or the security in
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, how to develop that inner fullness, and how do you come to space where you conquer that insecurity? Of course, that is the essence of the whole thing. And the spiritual understanding is that we need to restore our awareness of who we truly are. And we use this word, human being. We say, I am a human being. But we rarely know what this exactly means and what this implies. So the human part is the body. And through the body, we interact with the external world. People, position, possession, money, the whole, your social network and your cell phone, all of that is the physical dimension. But being is the being of consciousness. We are spiritual beings of consciousness, and we play the game of human life through the body. But we have forgotten who we truly are. And all our attention, all our sense of self is just connected with this. Now, all of this can change anytime. All of this is temporary. It is temporary and it is changing. So if my sense of self-worth, if my sense of value, if my sense of self-respect is based on something that can change anytime, it is changing, it is temporary, then my sense of self-respect is limited. I'll be insecure. Say, for example, I feel secure because I have a good job. Now, what will happen with that sense of security if someone else gets a good job also and is rising in the company and quickly gets where you get, where you are, and also aim for what you are aiming? You will feel insecure because your sense of security and your sense of self-respect is connected with that position. Anything can happen anytime. And so if we create a sense of self and a sense of respect for self and a sense of self-worth and self-value based on something temporary, we are vulnerable. And you are consciously, subconsciously, in a big time or in a small way, always insecure. Because anything, anywhere here can change. The spiritual positioning is different. The spiritual positioning is, I am a spiritual being, I am a soul. And I transcend the limitations of this. I existed before the body took shape, I will continue to exist after this body perishes. I am a guest in this body, temporarily. I'm a traveler. through time and space. I'm a trustee of the body. The body is temporarily entrusted to me. This whole part that I'm playing out temporarily, I'm associated with this. But I exist regardless of this. Once I make that awareness firm, I am not so vulnerable to the changes that happen here. And I begin to understand myself as a being that is innately godlike. A being of peace, a being of wisdom, a being of love, a being of power, a being of purity. Through meditation, we can experience that more and more. And begin to see the whole physical world as a temporary experience, a play, a game that we're playing. And you play the game well, and you win also, or you lose, but win or lose doesn't diminish who you are. And then you can approach the game with that deep sense of self-respect. And you do your best, you give your, you use your intelligence, you use your talents, but the outcome of it will not diminish your sense of self-respect. Understand? Now this requires attention. Because we have not paid attention to the real self. All our time, our thoughts, our resources generally are just focused on this. And we have lost touch with the essence of our own being. And this is why in the world we are a bit upside down. And we are looking for these experiences in others. And even if they give it, even if they are there, it doesn't last forever. But many times they cannot give it because they themselves don't have it. And this is why if we really structurally, truly want to come into relationships and experience the power and the beauty of that, we first need to restore ourselves. How do you bring out the best in someone? Make them feel secure. How do you bring out the worst in someone? Make them feel insecure. And that applies for ourselves also. More we are insecure, it triggers our lower nature. And if both are insecure, we trigger each other's lowest nature. That becomes like the hell, you could say. But it is not because we are innately bad. We are innately good. Each and every one, we have goodness, but we haven't allowed that to emerge. And we have created a society of sharks. So everybody feeling insecure, everybody fighting. I'm exaggerating, but I don't know if I'm exaggerating, but I'm trying to make it look a bit black and white, so just to understand the dynamics. Yeah, please use the mic.
I struggle with this a lot. I think for decades have motivated myself through I'm lacking
Desires.
desire. Yeah, of like, I need to be this.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I need to move into that, and then I'll be good, right? And I think there's this tension of how do I accept, like, lovingly where I'm at? Like, knowing that that will allow me then to pursue what I want to really pursue with love versus like from a point of scarcity. But I think there's also this fear that or it's like, oh yeah, I just like will like leave society, you know, or like just I'm not the drive won't be there in the same way, which I think I know is like it's a lot more fear than like the reality, but I think it's like, how do you start actually making that shift when you've been conditioned for so long?
Yeah, we can recondition ourselves if we truly what is the word? If we truly see the usefulness of something, we can shift away from old patterns and create new patterns, more healthy patterns. And we can do things out of fear. Fear can be a motivating factor, but love can also be a motivating factor. And because we have been often even raised with fear motivating factors, we have started to believe that is normal and that is the norm. But more you explore and experiment, doing things differently, seeing a different perspective, things can shift. But for me, it started by becoming serious about a meditation practice. And I decided, okay, I'm going to explore this possibility and this different way of being in the world, a different way of approaching things. I'm going to take it seriously. And I started to get up earlier. And before I start my day, non-negotiably, I meditate first. And I do some spiritual study. The Brahma Kumaris offers morning classes. Every morning we meditate and there are classes. And I started to embrace that nurturing of the self on a daily basis. And I began to see that it is possible to be different. A simple thing like cooking. I used to cook and I used to wait until somebody says it tastes good. And I began to realize how silly this is. If they say or if they don't say, I should cook because I like to cook. I should cook because I love to cook nice things. Whether they say, not say, how how silly. And silly things like that, how we look, how we dress, how we interact. Everywhere we started to wait for compliments. And I thought, what is this? And I don't want to be a beggar, and nobody wants to be with a beggar anyway. So what is the whole purpose of this thing? And there's no need for it also. But this needing acknowledgement, this needing of appreciation, actually, I think it pushes people away in the long run. Or it attracts bullies. And neither of that you want. Yeah. So, but one thing that I realized, it should not just be a theory in my head. I need to attach practical practices with it and paying attention to it. So 2 things I started to do. One is what I said, I will get up earlier, an hour earlier every day, and dedicate time for meditation and spiritual studies. And the second thing I did is I started to check the quality of my thoughts during the day. Is this a useful thought or is this a useless thought? Is this an empowering thought or is this a disempowering thought? And to shift consciously away from disempowering and useless thinking. And I began to feel so much more energy. I realized that waste thinking is so draining. And then I will say, you are draining me, but it is not the other who's draining me, it's my own waste thoughts that are draining me. Other is how they are. They are how they are. But I don't need to why and what and how come it shouldn't be like this. They will be how they are anyway. So it's not them draining me. I'm draining myself by my response. And I started checking that seriously. And at the end of the day, I will write in my diary or in my journey what are my observations. What did I do and what did I not do, where I can pay a bit more attention. And I felt it was magic. It still is if I do that. Life-changing. Because you're in the world differently. You're looking at things differently. And it is, you're still growing and learning. It's not that you're 100% all the time, but it's much better than what it was before. Much better. I don't feel subservient anymore or the need for others to be in a certain way or not. Please give the mic.
How do you maybe heal from hurts, from maybe some abusive behaviors that may be generating a lot of emotions, right? Like anger or guilt or shame. Maybe in meditation, how do you, I feel like that sometimes is an obstacle for me to think, to just be and think about maybe a better solution because I'm just stuck in that. But how do you get past or move through it?
Well, ultimately, the way to heal from unpleasant or negative emotions that have been, for whatever reason, experienced, is to experience the opposite. So if I'm hurt, the experience of safety and love, that is what will heal the hurt. But having said that, I know that is not the immediate answer. Because like you're saying, you're stuck in that hurt. Your thoughts are just going around and around and around in whatever it is that you're dealing with, and you can't easily pass beyond it. And so two things that help me in situations like that is try and see the situation in a bigger perspective. That this is a magical tool for many things. Because we get stuck in thoughts and feelings and situations because our perspective narrows. And so actively, I try to see things from a bigger perspective. And the other thing is, instead of this was done to me and this is not nice, and that may be true. It is not nice, it was done to me, it was inflicted on me, all of that may be true. But if I position myself in the way that I say, what can I learn from this? Then I use that situation to grow and to empower me. What is there to learn? And sometimes the learning is as simple as learning to say no. there is always something I can learn. And to shift it around in terms of what can I learn, what can I take from this, how can I use this to empower myself, you're moving beyond the hurt. You're acknowledging, it's not that you're ignoring, but you're moving beyond. And you're using it to empower yourself. And once you do that, you can move into a state where you can begin to experience your innate beauty. And even further, if you would like to explore the relationship with the divine, even more. Because the way to heal from debilitating experiences and emotions is to experience the opposite, the positive opposite. Then only truly we will heal. Okay, but time has passed. And so all of this is a bit of an advertisement for meditation. We're laughing, but I do feel it is not a luxury anymore to spend time to explore your own higher nature and explore a spiritual perspective on life. And not just as a philosophy in your head, but practical steps also. Okay? So then maybe a few more words, especially for those who are here for the first time. This is a meditation center. It has been here since 1996, 1997, but it is part of an international network of meditation centers and schools throughout America also, but throughout the world. Originated in Pakistan, that time it was India. And what we practice is called Raj Yoga meditation. And the name of the institution is the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual Organization. And like I said, we have many centers. And here in New York, we have upstate, we have a retreat center. So if you have interest in exploring spirituality and have an experience over the weekend of a community that lives these principles and practices, you're most welcome. In April, the retreats start again, weekend retreats. It is a bus drive from Port Authority to the Catskill Mountains if you don't drive yourself. The bus is about 2.5 hours or so. 2.5 hours, yeah, a little more than 2.5 hours. And this center, every month we have a program, but the fixed programs are the Tuesdays and the Thursdays. We start with guided meditation from 6 to 6:30, and then there is a talk on different topics. But this month is the month of relationships, because of the Valentine's, of course. And so there are many talks on love this month also, but one was on this. So we also have courses for those who want to take it at a deeper, more serious level. There is a meditation course, a 7 days course. This month it is by appointment, and next month the course will start again. We have workshops, we have mini retreats here at the center, so feel free to explore if you want to. Okay? Then let's close with a minute of silence, and then Thank you. And enjoy an empowering winter.